Then he opened his mouth wide and began to scream convulsively. Then he bloodthirstily began to eat the leaves of the mandrake, which wanted to escape. He came closer and closer to the exit of the tunnel and wanted the elves to get out, although they said that it was high up there, but they would have to get out. After they got out of the cave, the protagonist sat down on the ground. Then he stood up and continued chewing on the mandrake leaf, thinking that they had come out into the light of day. Now Xavier would find him easier and he should show up soon. But if others got to him first, it would be bad. Suddenly, an arrow flew past the protagonist's silhouette into the head. Well, Lloyd slightly closed his eyes, continuing to chew on the plant leaf. The commander looked back at the girl, who clutched her stomach, because she felt sick, because she was worried. Then she looked back with fury at her other friend, who saw something terrible and her anemia just let her know. Their commander told her to pull herself together because she couldn't show weakness in front of this enemy. Suddenly, unpleasant sounds were heard from her own stomach. They all fell to their knees together and convulsively clutched their stomachs and almost vomited. The protagonist stared at them in bewilderment. He imagined an army of elf girls who were pulling their arrows, and he assumed that they must be strong and unwavering. He held the plants and began to look around, because he did not hear a single bird in the entire forest and not a single animal. It was a huge magical plant that emitted purple light, because it was a domino monster when the animals migrated another part from the mountain, and that is why in the thicket of the ever-shining forest it was so empty. Then he began to look around with disdain. He realized that the elves would not touch the plants, which meant that they were carnivores. At that moment, the elves convulsively held their stomachs and looked weak, because he realized that they most likely had been hungry for a very long time. At that time, the knight stood in the water in a fighting pose, holding a glowing blade. At that moment, Melika grabbed her arrow again, while her friends covered her from the tree. The knight looked at them angrily through his bangs, and it was strange to him that, judging by the strength and abilities of the elves, this should not have exhausted them so much. He assumed that he would be able to break through their defense and abruptly squatted over the water. A bright electron of light swirled in